Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is going to be my new Thor Love and Thunder first look breakdown. They just started filming. There's a whole bunch of Easter eggs and all this. You've probably been seeing it all over your social media feeds this morning. So if you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. This is just the beginning. They literally just started filming the movie recently. There's still so much big Marvel stuff coming up this year. With all the Marvel Disney Plus stuff, we have Falcon and Winter Soldier coming up after Wandavision, the Loki episodes. We'll also see some Thor 4 stuff happening during the Loki series as well, because that will connect. But just starting with the big stuff first, we'll start with Thor's new look here. Thor would like you to buy 2 tickets to the gun show. Go in sleeveless just to show off all the work he's been doing trying to lose all that weight since the end of Avengers Endgame. A lot of you longtime comic book fans recognize that this is basically them doing the Thunderstrike costume combined with the Jack Kirby costume from the classic Thor comics. That doesn't mean that we're actually looking at Thunderstrike here, it just means that his costume is inspired by Thunderstrike's costume. The costume designer himself also posted a message just hyping everything up when this was all dropping this morning too. Like, I couldn't wait to post. This is just going to be so amazing. I had so much fun working on all these. No surprise that everything looks way crazier than it did during Thor Ragnarok, even though that itself looked way crazier than previous Thor movies. It was meant to be a reinvention of the Thor franchise, so this is just a continuation of that escalating everything. Everything turned up to 11. They said it's meant to feel like an Avengers movie, like the way that Captain America Civil War was Avengers 2.5, because there were so many big crossover Avengers characters in it. Thor 4 is going to be like Avengers 4.5. But if you're not familiar with the Thunderstrike character, that was Eric Masterson from the comics. So originally, Thunderstrike was the name given to Eric Masterson when he became his own completely separate version of Thor. Originally, Eric Masterson was just a construction worker that Thor saved. He joined the Thor Corps, he teamed up with Beta Ray Bill a whole lot, had a bunch of adventures with him. I know a lot of people hoping that Beta Ray Bill shows up in Thor Love and Thunder. Taika Waititi implied that he was really down to do that, but he didn't confirm that he was going to be in the movie. There were a lot of Corbinite Easter eggs during Avengers Endgame, like Thanos' ship. When you go back to the 2014 version of Thanos, they're assaulting Beta Ray Bill's home planet during that scene. Like, you see Corbites wearing these giant suits of armor. So basically they were fighting Beta Ray Bill's people, and during the script pages, there were also a lot of deleted scenes from that moment too. The original script has a whole bunch more talking about Beta Ray Bill's people during that scene. There was also the Beta Ray Bill Easter egg from Thor Ragnarok. Kevin Feige revealed that they had originally planned for him to fight in the Grand Masters Contest of Champions, but then later just decided to cut him out of the movie when they were in the middle of pre-production. So there was all this work that they had done putting him in the movie that they had to take out. So that's why you see him on the side of the Grandmaster's Tower, because he's meant to be one of the previous champions. So it just wound up being an Easter egg, and they're like, okay, we'll put him back in another movie when we find a really good place for him. So hopefully that good place winds up being Thor 4. Just looking at the pictures from the set, I can't read the logo on his white t-shirt underneath the jacket, but I'm sure there's another Easter egg there. It seems like it's meant to be very metal if we're going for 1980s references. He's still got Stormbreaker, no big surprise there. It hasn't been that long since the end of Avengers Endgame when Thor 4 picks up. Based on the original planned Marvel Phase 4 timeline of when all the movies were supposed to come out before all the virus stuff happened, Thor 4 was originally supposed to come out this November 2021. So that would have put it around a year and a half after the end of Avengers Endgame. The bottom half of his costume, pure Jack Kirby though, even though it's meant to be the blue jeans. The pants and the gold wraparound bootlaces are inspired by the classic Jack Kirby Thor from the original comics. His hair's been trimmed and styled more like a 1980s surfer dude, but as wild as it looks, it's still way cleaner and styled than his hair during Avengers Endgame, and his beard has been trimmed. Like, he has that braid down the left side of his face, but he doesn't have the dreads anymore. Those were kind of gross, because he did not get his hair dreaded on purpose. Then we have all the new Guardians of the Galaxy costume changes and new looks. Chris Pratt wearing his new costume and his new beard. I know a lot of people are conflicted about the beard. I think it looks fine. I'm sure once we get to Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is supposed to shoot later this year, I believe, maybe at the end of this year, James Gunn will also similarly tune up some of these costumes and change them just a little bit. But in all these scenes, Star-Lord looks like he's wearing a tuned-up, shinier version of his regular Ravager's uniform, the red jacket that he always used to wear in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Like, now he's got the purple stripes down the middle instead of dark red. All the colors in general just look tuned up, way more saturated. He's got the gold and silver shoulder pads and the gauntlets on top of his sleeves that look way more hardcore, and those shiny silver-looking pauldrons on top of his shoulders. The symbols and designs, too, if you zoom and enhance on the armored portions of the costume, also seem a lot like the designs on Ego the Living Planet's costume. Like, the idea is he's slowly embracing his heritage a little more, or at least in the process of making peace with it. You have to remember that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 takes place pretty close to the events of Guardians 1, and then a couple years go by, like a long time goes by, before they show up at the beginning of Avengers Infinity War. So it's actually been a long time since he met his father and then wound up killing him. Seemingly killing him. I know we don't know if he's absolutely dead, because it's actually really hard to kill Celestials. Technically, he doesn't have his god-tier celestial cosmic powers anymore since Ego supposedly died. The whole thing with that is that when he was in proximity to Ego, like when he was touching Ego's surface on the planet, he was functionally immortal, and that's when his cosmic powers were activated. Once Ego died, he stopped being immortal, but he's still got half celestial DNA, which naturally expands his lifespan beyond a normal human's, probably gives him some resilience too, so he's stronger than a normal person. He can still boast about being a god with a little g, like the way the Ego said it, I'm a god with a little g. Thor is a god in the MCU, so Star-Lord can also make jokes about being one too, which is relevant for the Gorr the God Butcher storyline with Christian Bale's character, because he's going around the galaxy literally killing all the gods that he can find. Then obviously the next really big change is Kraglin finally walking around wearing Yondu's fin. His Ravager's costume also seems like it's been tuned up with more highlights and the color was way more saturated like the other costumes. The way he's walking around here, he's just got that metal piece in his skull so that he can wear the giant fin. The giant fin just attaches to that metal piece on top. Then Nebula also looks like she got a similar costume upgrade from her original Ravager's uniform, or at least the last one she was wearing during Avengers Endgame. This one just looks like a more hardcore blue version of the Avengers Endgame costume she was wearing. Still sleeveless with all the colors way more saturated. Even the metal pieces on her look like they've been tuned up with more highlights. Then even though you don't see him in any of these pictures, Groot, Rocket, and Drax are there as well. Like Chris Pratt posted this video of them heading to set just a little while ago, they were all on board. And if you guys haven't seen it or you haven't heard Vin Diesel talking about Alpha Groot, just 2 days ago, as I'm posting this video, literally just 2 days, he posted an Alpha Groot post on his Instagram, the final boss form of Groot. You just have to picture a bigger, more badass looking version of what Groot looked like during the first Guardians of the Galaxy film. So I don't know if this is Vin Diesel teasing that he's going to turn into Alpha Groot during Thor Love and Thunder, or if he's just trying to hype up Guardians 3, because him turning into Alpha Groot feels like a really big twist they would save for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So maybe just a slightly larger, more evolved version of Groot during Thor Love and Thunder, because even though the Guardians are a big deal during Thor 4, I'm not expecting them to be there for the entire film. The other real big thing you probably spotted this morning in all these pictures were the goats from the comics. They were spotted on set, so Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder are his goats. They're kind of like cosmic mystical goats that pull his chariot and carry him across the 10 realms when he doesn't have access to the Bifrost. So obviously the whole thing is that Stormbreaker can open its own Bifrost portals anywhere he wants to go, so why would he need the goats unless something winds up happening during the course of the film that prevents him from using Stormbreaker's Bifrost? You can post all the theories you want about that, but the goats themselves, Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder, have shown up during many big Thor comic book storylines, including the Unworthy Thor, which was happening while the Jane Foster Mighty Thor stuff was happening as well. But the only thing that's missing from all this is obviously Christian Bale in his Gorr the God Butcher costume. We don't really know what his look is going to be like during the film and how close that's going to be to comic book Gorr's look, because the way his costume works, it is basically the Necro Sword creating a costume around him. It's sort of like a living costume, the primal symbiote cloaking him in what seems like billowing darkness. I've already done a big video about Gorr the God Butcher's storyline and what it seems like they're adapting from the comics for Thor Love and Thunder and why that's all relevant, so I'll put a link for that down in the description below. But if you spotted any big Easter eggs in these pictures and the costumes that I didn't mention in the video, just write them below in the comments, and everyone just post your general reactions. I think it's probably going to be as crazy as you would expect it to be. I'm so excited to see what's going on with it. There's so much stuff happening this week. My Wandavision Episode 5 video is going to post Friday, but I do have a brand new Wandavision Fantastic Four video that I was working on before all this stuff dropped. That video will probably wind up posting tomorrow. There's also a lot of Spider-Man 3 stuff that Tom Holland is going to be doing later this week as well, so I'll be doing videos for that too. So make sure you enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss any of those videos. Congratulations, Andre Henderson. You're the giveaway winner from my last big WandaVision video. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your contact details. Everyone click here for that crazy WandaVision Episode 5 trailer, and click here for my full WandaVision Episode 4 video. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.